Ben Hall, here we are at the State Theatre here in Sydney for Elvis, the musical all about the king of rock and roll. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Yeah, no, it's been a great day so far. We've done a couple of numbers and then some lovely interviews. So,
Yeah, I know, you're quite a popular guy.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, there's Elvis is very busy, so I get to take while he's over there, I can do some little stuff over here. It's great.
Elvis is played by Rob Mallet, so you actually play two characters in this musical. Tell me more.
I play Sam Phillips, who arguably is the sort of grandfather of rock and roll. He discovered Elvis back in the 50s and was his first sort of record producer. And then also Frank Sinatra, who doesn't need much of an introduction.
Yeah, he needs a huge introduction because I didn't know that. It's not written anywhere that you actually are also playing, is he Old Blue Eyes? Is that what he's called?
Yeah, Blue Eyes, yeah.
So you are a graduate of WAPA, and people may not know that because a lot of people would know you from starring on Neighbours.
Yeah, I spent sort of 4 years on the show playing Ned Willis, which was a fantastic time, and I'm stoked. I mean, the show's coming back, which is lovely for all of those guys, so I'm looking forward to seeing the relaunch. You can't kill that show. You just cannot. It keeps coming back.
What attracted you to audition for this musical?
To be quite honest, I really wanted to get back on the stage. It had been a long time since I'd been on the stage. And then I was a little bit hesitant. I was kind of like, can I still do this? You know, it's a very different medium. But when I knew that Rob was involved and also Alistair, the director, both of those guys are incredible. And I'm very good friends with Rob. We were actually at WAPA together and best man at his wedding, so it was like I was like, okay, well, I get to work with one of my best friends who's an incredible performer, and also Alistair, who has a really collaborative process, is what I was looking for really, is someone that we could do that was like our own input rather than sort of cookie cutter musical from the States that you're sort of told where to stand and what to do. I wanted to do something that was ours. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Alistair because I saw him direct The Wedding Singer, and that was an incredible show. Yeah. Tell me more about your character research.
I started obviously with Sam Phillips, probably because he's lesser known of the two, and read his biography, which was written by a friend of his actually, who's been a friend of his for 25 years. So very detailed biography, and that sort of gave me a nice historical background of the character, and then I sort of came at it from a vocal performance. So I spoke to an accent coach and dialect coach, and he has a very sort of specific sound, that southern sound, a bit like Elvis. And then from there, physicalities and all those sorts of things, and then we got to the script. So it was that's sort of the way I went through it. But he's an interesting guy, a really interesting guy, and hopefully people recognise his influence on Elvis through this show. As he's not sort of, a lot of people have seen the film and things like that, but this isn't someone that would recognise as much as, say, Elvis or the Colonel or Priscilla. So yeah, it's nice to tell his story.
So this musical trails a lot of his life. Where does Elvis meet your character?
He walks into my recording studio in, it was probably 1953, well, the real Elvis walked into Sam Phillips' recording studio in 1953 in Memphis, and was with Sam recording for about 4 years, I think it was, before he moved to RCA. So it's those sort of core 4 years where he sort of found Elvis and established his sound. Recorded That's All Right Mama was the first single that he put out.
And you're also telling me off air that when you play Frank Sinatra, that moment in the musical is also based on a real moment that happened.
Yeah, that's right. It's when Elvis came back from Germany, when he was drafted for 2 years, he came back and wanted to relaunch his career. And Frank, they'd had a bit of I suppose some sort of back and forth over the years. Frank wasn't a huge fan of rock and roll. He probably didn't want his audiences leaving him for rock and roll, but he eventually sort of relinquished that and sort of got Elvis onto his show. And so they did sort of a welcome back to the States for Elvis, and that's the moment that you see on stage.
We work in the same way, only in different areas. Love me tender, love me sweet, never let me go. You have made my life complete, and I love you so. Those fingers in my hair, I come here to stare. That strips my conscience bare is wishful. Love me tender, love me true, all my dreams fulfill. For my darling, I love you, and I always will. It's such an ancient pitch. Switch, 'cause there's no nicer witch than I love you, and I always will. For my darling, I love you. Man, that's pretty. And I always will.
Are you a fan of Elvis?
I am. I mean, as a kid growing up, I sort of only knew him for the later years of his life, the decline, you know, and when things got pretty weird and whatnot. So it was nice to sort of go back and see all the stuff from the earlier years, you know, the forming years. The music's incredible. I mean, he is just incredible. It's unbelievable what he did for music and just who he was. That charisma is just unbelievable.
He did have charisma. Now, what kind of research did you also do? Because Baz Luhrmann just had the movie come out, and I believe there's another movie that's coming out, again, based on Priscilla's autobiography.
There is, yeah. I mean, obviously, I'd seen the Elvis film and a lot of great Aussie actors in that. And so that was good, but there's so much that happens in Elvis's life, you know. It's so hard to sum up someone's life in 3 hours, and Baz does an incredible job, obviously, but wanted to get into more detail, so that's sort of where there was loads more research, you know, loads more YouTube videos, loads more reading about his life, just to get a really full picture of what's going on.
This is the Australian premiere. It's never actually been held here before. What can Elvis fans expect, and people who may not know much about Elvis? I mean, let's be honest, there are things that we don't know. Yeah. What can we expect in this musical?
Look, Elvis fans can expect to see the things that they want to see, the great songs, the moves, the Elvis charisma. I think the things that people won't be expecting to see is the detail in his early life that we've got through this. It's almost more like a play in the first act, in that we really get to sort of a deep dive into how he found his sound and who influenced him over the years. I think that's really exciting. That's what people will learn from the show. Yeah.
Oh, since my baby left me, I found a new place to dwell. It's down at the end of the lonely street.
Elvis song?
Probably out of this, maybe I'm biased because I'm playing Sam Phillips. That's All Right Mama, that initial raw sound with that young Elvis, I love it. Yeah.
And do you know the dates that we're chartering Elvis's life in this musical?
Yes, it'll essentially be sort of 53 through till 68, the 68 special. So yeah, so I think he's sort of 19 through to 30, early 30s. Yeah.
You've already, I think you had a preview last night, didn't you? How was the crowd?
Great, incredible actually. We weren't expecting such a, we only been selling this first 2 levels at the moment. There's the big theatre to fill, but last night for our first preview we had to open up the top and we had at least 1,600 or 1,700 people here, so it was a big first crowd, yeah, for a preview, definitely.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
That's amazing.
Yeah, really, really cool.
Have you seen any diehard Elvis fans in the audience? Can you see through the lights at all?
There is quite a, you can probably see there the lights on the cross, so it actually lights up the audience really quite well. I shouldn't be looking, but I did see some big sideburns as I was sort of glancing out across the crowd, so there's definitely some proper fans in there, you know. If you've grown your own sideburns, true Elvis fan.
When it comes to Elvis, is there any scene in particular that grabs your heartstrings?
Can't Help Falling in Love. I think it will be quite unexpected where that song falls in this show in the second act. So yeah, I don't want to give it too much away because it's a really beautiful moment, and it also is lovely because of what happens is sort of resonating in Rob's life at the moment too. So you'll have to sort of see if you can put those 2 things together.
I do know. Yeah. Rob is going to be becoming a dad very soon to Chloe Zool, who was Eliza in Hamilton, and also Catherine Aragon in Six the Musical.
Yes.
So if you were the best man, then you're the best uncle?
Yeah, I will be. I'll be the best uncle. Oh God, I didn't even think about that. No, I'm so excited for them. I can't wait to. I'm just stoked. It's coming. It's meant to be coming the week after we open. So. Yeah. It's going to be a crazy time for Rob, but it's going to be amazing.
It's so exciting. It's a really exciting time for theatre in this country, and of course Rob being Elvis is going to have his own special moment.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so excited for him. I think this is a real showcase of his skills, which we haven't seen before, and he's an incredible performer, so it's going to be great.
Well, look, I know you said that you were from Whopper, you're a graduate from Whopper, and I know a lot of people haven't seen you on the stage, but they do know you from your different plays and, of course, with Neighbours. But I've got to say, I think everyone's going to be really excited to see you strut your stage. Strut the stage?
Strut the stage. Hey, I'm looking forward to it. I definitely love being back up there, and working with this cast is incredible, so I'm very happy, yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see this show. Ben, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and Chookers, have a great season. You're heading down to Melbourne, and I believe you were saying you're coming back to Sydney again?
We'll do a return season early next year, but yeah, we're here for sort of 6 weeks, so get in while it's fresh, and then if you do miss it, at least you've got a chance to come see it again.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
No worries, thank you.
He's my favorite! Oh, I can see why.
Nice to be in orbit.